Alright friends, hello and welcome to my comparison video for the Barefoot collection, which is Zoya's Summer 2019 collection. This video will go through each of these 12 polishes and give some other polishes from Zoya's collection that are similar to them. I will put in my description box down below links to the particular time in the video for each of these polishes. So if you want to jump around and just see the ones you're most interested in, you can do that. Alright, awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you learned something and that you enjoy. Alright friends, so first up is Joey, which is this one right here. And Joey is this really nice pale pink. I have nothing similar in my collection. I'm comparing it here to Dot, which I think is kind of the palest pink in Zoya's collection up until this point in time. But Joey is definitely much more saturated and a bit more almost like peachy pink. Dot is much more sheer and much lighter in color. It has a lot less pink in it. I actually just added Dot to my collection recently. And then Avril is kind of like a lighter nude color, but you can see how much more kind of tan is in Avril. It's a little bit more like almost mauve-y compared to Joey, which is a bit more peachy and pink. And then Laurel is kind of like a soft pink in Zoya's collection. It doesn't look anything like Joey in the bottle, but I did want to show kind of how much brighter Laurel is. Joey is definitely much more like muted out, softer, kind of baby pink. So nothing compares to Joey, so I won't be swatching any of those. Alright, so here is Tessa, which is a really lovely nude with kind of a gold shimmer in it. And I think that between Tessa and the other polishes from Zoya's collection, Piper is kind of the closest nude to Tessa. Piper is definitely a little bit more pink and Tessa's a little bit more peachy, but they kind of reminded me of each other in terms of their shade a little bit, but even if you have Piper, I think Tessa is totally different. And then I tried to pull kind of peachy polishes to have shimmer in them, and the only ones that I could come up with were Cassie and Meadow. Meadow is definitely a lot more pink, and so even though they both have that gold shimmer, it doesn't look that similar to me. Cassie is probably the closest, and Cassie does have a really warm kind of gold shimmer in here, but it is much more of a peach, whereas Tessa is a peachy nude, and I know that probably sounds crazy, but I definitely think that Cassie has a bit more kind of orange in it and Tessa's a bit more nude, and so I think these look pretty different on the nail. Alright, and then here we have Beth, Kira, and Pasha, and Kira is the new one from the Barefoot collection. These three, I was kind of shocked when I pulled them out and realized how similar they look in the bottle. You can see, I don't know, they look very similar in this bottle, but I do want to show you these three up close. So Kira is in the middle there, and it is a little bit of a lighter base color than either Beth or Pasha. I do think the shimmer is probably closer to what's in Beth because it's not quite as pearly as what's in Pasha. Pasha's just like a little bit frosty, you know. Pasha, you can't really see like the particles, whereas in both Kira and Beth you can see those particles, but their color is pretty different. Kira's much warmer of a base and Beth is much cooler of a base, so they are similar. Probably you're gonna prefer one over the other would be my guess, based on whether you like warmer or cooler polishes. And I think from a distance you see much more of that kind of warm shimmer coming out in Kira. It really looks kind of glowy and fiery on the nail compared to these two that look a little bit more cooler toned. I was surprised how different they look on the nail based on what they look like in the bottle. These three bottles look super similar, and I think it's really interesting that they do look so different on the nail. So I'm gonna say none of these are dupes, but you know, again, if this is not a kind of polish you pull for often, you may not need to add Kira to your collection if you have one of the other ones. But if you kind of wear Beth or Pasha and you wish it was more warmer toned, Kira might be right up your alley. Alright, and here we have a little trip down memory lane. This is Journey, which is from Zoya's 2017 summer collection, the Wanderlust collection. And this is Marigold, which is from the 2018 summer collection, which was the Sunshine collection. And then this is Marcy, which is from the 2019 collection, the summer collection. And then this one's Aphrodite. I just threw it in because it looked kind of similar to these other three. So I do think there are no dupes in this group, but Do you need 4 polishes that look like this? Maybe not. So I'm gonna show you them up close so you can kind of see the differences. Marcy's described as a coral and Journey's described as a red, whereas Marcy has kind of this really warm shimmer in it and Journey is kind of red with this pink shimmer in it almost, and so I think Journey looks a little bit cooler toned. Marcy doesn't look as quite like bright pink on the nail, so these two are, I don't know, they're super close. They're not identical though, so if you are a shimmer lover, you might really enjoy having both of these. Alright, and in my swatch video, I had said that Marcy was described by Zoya as a hot coral, and then I didn't really see coral, I saw red, but holding it up next to Marigold and Aphrodite, I definitely think that I see the coral in here, and so Marcy looks a little bit more pink than it did kind of on its own, or even next to Journey, and so I think compared to Marigold and Aphrodite, these are definitely different polishes. I think down here, Journey really sticks out. You can see that kind of bright pink flash, and Marcy looks much more closer to Aphrodite and Marigold. I am going to swatch these just so you can see what they look like on the nails. Alright, so I'm going to start with Marcy right here on my middle finger. That is the first coat of Marcy. Alright, and then I'm coming in for the first coat of Journey right next to it on my ring finger. And then Marigold is coming in here on my pointer finger. Alright, and then Aphrodite here is going on my pinky finger. Alright, so these are all in second coats now, and they're definitely different. I mean, Marigold has kind of visible pieces in here. It's a little bit more kind of fiery red. Aphrodite is a little bit more orange. I feel like it's kind of hard to compare all the way up here, but Aphrodite is a little bit more orange. Journey's definitely different. So I think on the nail, these do look a little bit more different than I expected, and Marcy's here in the middle. Alright, friends, here we go. This is Liza. Liza is a hard one to compare, and I was convinced that this one was totally unique in my collection, and so I'm really excited to be doing some comparisons now. Over here we have America, which is just kind of like a true classic red, and I wanted to show how dusty Liza is because I really feel like it was hard to capture this. In my swatch photos and on my swatch video, it just didn't look as dusty as I kept saying it was because I didn't have anything to compare it to. So up next to America, I think you can really see how dusty Liza is. So I'm actually going to take America out. I don't think it's a great comparison, but I just wanted to show you that like really interesting tone that Liza has. I love it. I'm really obsessed with this one. So then I wanted to show you it compared to a couple others in my collection. This is Max over here. This is Monroe. Look at Monroe. Doesn't it look so purple? It's so surprising. And this is Dita. So I will show you Monroe and Liza up close. Those are two that people have asked about a lot. So here are Monroe and Liza. Monroe looks much pinker, almost even a little purple compared to Liza. If Liza is like a poppy red, I think they describe it as, Monroe is definitely pink compared to these two, but I can definitely see why folks thought that they might be similar when they saw them in the bottle. So we're just gonna take Monroe on out of here. And then we have Max, Dita, and Liza. I think that Dita is definitely brighter. It's much pinker than Liza is, even though Liza is kind of like a pinky red. Dita is much more like vibrantly pink. In the bottle, I think they look a little bit more similar, but when you see these swatches, they look pretty different. Max is the one that I'm actually having a pretty hard time being able to tell how similar or different these are. So I am gonna swatch this one. Max on my swatch stick looks pretty sheer. I think it's an older Zoya. It may not have as good of a formula as Liza, and so I do want to see on the nail how it builds up. Alright, so I am starting with Liza here, and this formula is just delicious. I love this polish. It's so fun. This one is one that I would definitely suggest you pick up in your collection because I am really into it. Alright, and then here's Max, and this one is probably more of a jelly polish. Again, I think it's an older polish, and so it just may not have quite the same cream formula as Zoya's newer polishes do. I do think that they look somewhat similar. On this first coat, Max is definitely a bit more sheer, but I can see a similarity. Alright, so I'm doing a second coat of Liza. This one does deepen that color a little bit. Alright, so my second coat of Max is still not opaque. I think I would need to do at least one more coat to get this one all the way opaque, but I think now I can really see that these are pretty different colors. Max is a bit more red, definitely jelly, so it's got kind of a different look to it, but I think these two are definitely different. Alright friends, up next are Robbie and Kimber, and these two looked kind of similar in the bottle. They were both pink-y colors, and they had kind of this gold shimmer in them, so I thought these two were the closest that I had in my collection. Here they are up close. Kimber is from a 2012 summer collection, and they definitely have similar, I don't know, a similar finish, but Robbie has much more kind of visible flakes in it, whereas Kimber is more of like a shimmer. I think the base color is pretty similar though, so I am going to show you these next to each other on the nail. Alright, so this is my first coat of Robbie and my first coat of Kimber. And I think they look somewhat similar on the nail. Robbie's a little bit more purple, Kimber's a little bit more kind of bright pink. There is that second coat of Robbie. I think you can see a little bit more of that almost purpley raspberry base color. And then there is Kimber. Kimber definitely looks a bit more hot pink on the nail. I really like Kimber. I think it's actually really surprising. I've never worn this one before. It might need a third coat to get opaque, but not a third coat to tell us how different it is from Robbie. Alright friends, here are some hot pinks. Do you have enough hot pinks? Not sure. Let's find out. This is Desi right here in the middle. This is Birdie, Esty, Jolene, Bryn, I think. Yep, Bryn, and over here on the end is Shelby. So definitely Bryn is much deeper than Desi, so I'm going to take this one out. It is a lot more kind of fuchsia, a lot more like deep hot pink, whereas Desi is a little bit lighter. And then I'm also going to take out Birdie kind of for the same reason. It's a little bit too, you know, bright. They're similar, but not that similar, so I'm going to take out Birdie. And then also as we get closer and closer, this one is Esty, and this one on the nail, I think they look pretty different. Esty is a bit almost cooler toned, and Desi's a little bit lighter, has a little bit more white in it, it's a little bit brighter. So I am going to take out Esty. And then I am left with Desi, Jolene, and Shelby. And Shelby is definitely a bit lighter when it dries. You can see how much lighter it looks than Desi and Jolene. So they do look a bit more similar in the bottle, but when they dry, they're pretty different. So really the two that I think are closest are Desi and Jolene, and so I am going to show you these two swatched. Alright, so I'm starting with Desi, and this one had a pretty good formula. It did take 2 coats for me to get opaque in my swatch and review and in my pictures, so I do think it will take 2 coats here. And then here is Jolene. I actually don't know that I've swatched this one before. The formula is a little bit more watery, and so it may not kind of build up to the same opacity as Desi. So I'm going to do my second coat of Desi, and for those of you at home that are wondering, Jolene is from the 2010 summer collection, which was the Flash and Sparkle collection. So it is kind of older, and so Zoya, you know, has definitely improved their formula since then, which I think you can see here. Desi went on much more opaque. All right, and then I'm gonna come in for a second coat of Jolene. So I would say these two do look pretty similar. Jolene might need a third coat to get opaque, and I see a little bit of difference. Like if you pushed me, I would say that Jolene is a little bit lighter and Desi is a little bit more kind of cool toned, deeper pink, but these are pretty similar. Desi definitely has a much better formula, so if you don't already have Jolene in your collection, I would definitely go for Desi. All right, friends, here we go. Here's another spread of colors. In the middle here is Rhea, and this one is the new one. Over here on the end, I have Yvette, which many people asked about because Yvette is from the Innocence collection, which was the spring collection. So here they are up close, super different actually. Yvette is much of a cooler tone purple, much deeper. So I am just gonna pull Yvette right out of here. And then here I have Reagan, and Reagan I thought was gonna be closer, but it is much more pink. On the nail as well, Reagan is much more pink, so I'm gonna pull that one out of here as well. And then the 4 that I'm left with are Kieko, Audrina, Rhea, and Liv. And again, I feel like I'm saying this wrong. I tried to look it up. I believe it's a Japanese name, and I think it's like Rhea, just like a little bit of an emphasis on the second syllable, so forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. But this one's Liv over here. When I look at these up close, I definitely see lots of differences. I don't see any dupes here. I think it's amazing that there are no dupes here, but for example, Kieko is much cooler. It's probably closer to Yvette than it is to this new guy, and Audrina and Liv are both too pink. They don't quite have the same depth that Rhea has in it, and so I really love this one. It was a surprise. For me, I didn't expect to like it as much as I do, but it is gorgeous, and there are no dupes here, so there's nothing to swatch. If you do want to see more about purples, purples is the next next color that I am doing a comparison series of on my channel, so there will be more kind of up close personal comparisons of purple coming very soon. All right, friends, here we go. This is the one that I was most looking forward to. This is Walker right here in the middle, and if you didn't know, Walker is my first name, so I'm very happy that there is now a Zoya Walker. There it is. That's my name. It's pretty exciting, I'm not gonna lie. And I love blue, so really everything about this is very exciting. So here we have Yummy, which is my favorite blue from Zoya ever. I would say maybe tied with Walker now, but I love Yummy. Dory, Ling, this is Mallory and Sia. And so I really think Walker looks totally different from Ling. It's not similar to Ling at all. It's not similar to Yummy and Dory. These ones are much lighter, much whiter, much more like cornflower blue. And I'm gonna put Walker right in the middle here. And I don't think it's either similar to Mallory or Sia. Again, these are much more kind of medium blues, much deeper. You know, when these dry, they're not even close. Walker sticks out like a sore thumb. So I think Walker is super unique in Zoya's collection, even though honestly, I kind of expected it to not be. All right, friends, this is another much requested one. This is Eleni right in the middle, and it is being compared to Blue and Lillian. And I just brought Blue in to just kind of show you how interesting Eleni is. It's this really almost like robin's egg blue in the middle here. It's so much different than Blue BLU, which is just this like pastel blue. And then I think you can see this difference a little bit in the bottle between Eleni and Lillian, but on the swatch stick you can really see Eleni is much brighter. It has so much more white in it, and Lillian almost has like a hint of green. I don't know, I never would have pointed that out, just kind of comparing Lillian to the other blues in Zoya's collection, but Eleni is so much brighter. These two in my mind are super different. I definitely don't think that these are dupes, and I think if you know, have one of them, you could totally get the other, especially if this is a color that you like to wear in the summer like I do. All right, friends, here is the yellow spread. This is B right here in the middle, and this is Pippa and Darcy down here. These two are obviously way brighter than B is. B is much more kind of pale yellow. I did bring in Daisy, even though it's a shimmer, just because I thought it would be a helpful comparison because Zoya doesn't have that many yellows. And then over here is Jacqueline, which is Zoya's kind of softer yellow. So I'm gonna pull out Pippa and Darcy because these are obviously super bright and not similar at all. And I am gonna pull out Daisy as well because again, it is a shimmer, but it's also not quite the right yellow. These are pretty different. And so really we're just looking at Jacqueline and B, and I think from far away in the bottle these looked closer, but up close and on the swatch stick there's just really no comparison here. B is much of a brighter yellow. Jacqueline has a lot more white in it. Jacqueline I think is a neutral polish, right? Jacqueline you could wear kind of to work, you could wear it to an interview. It's a little yellow, it's like a kiss of yellow, but B is definitely yellow. There's no doubt about this one. And so I think these are pretty different, which makes me really happy. I'm so glad that B is in Zoya's collection. I really feel like they were missing a yellow like this, and this is a really nice one. All right, and then last but not least, we have Dallas, which is the topper in this collection, and I really didn't have anything like this. I think Zoya has added a pretty unique one in Dallas. I pulled in Cosmo because I don't know, it has like silver hex glitter. It felt a little similar, but Cosmo is not a topper. It gets opaque in 2 coats, and so I think this is not a great comparison. So instead, I just want to show you Dallas over a couple other colors. All right, friend, here I have a white, a black, I have a Eleni, and I have B, and I'm just gonna show you 1 coat of Dallas over each of them. I feel like this is a better way to compare a topper than to show it to you, you know, next to some kind of polishes that it has nothing in common with. All right, so there's 1 coat of Dallas over white. You definitely see that silver glitter, I think kind of as expected. The hex glitters that are white in the base get a little bit lost on white, so I don't know that I would recommend this as kind of the best pairing. Here we go over black. All right, so there it is over black. I feel like those white glitters really pop. I love it, but you definitely lose the silver just a little bit. They don't quite shine off that black as much as they do off some other colors. And I did swatch this one over Joey in my swatch video, and I have swatches of that on my Instagram, so if you want to see that, you can go check it out there. Here it is over Eleni. I like that combination. I feel like you can see both the silver and the white, which is really nice, so I like that one a lot. And then there it is over B. I like it over B a lot as well. I think I like it over the colors more than I do over the white or the black, because I feel like you can see all the parts of it, which is really nice. You can really see all those glitters. So there's a couple more swatches of Dallas. I hope that that is helpful.